Hey y'all. We're gonna do a so that we don't run into the same problem as we did last episode. We're gonna do a quick sound check, real quick. I'm gonna talk first. Testes, testes. 1, 2, 3. Josh, give us your chicken nuggets. Oh, they can't hear you for some reason. Ha ha ha! Aha! This is why we test these things. Ha ha ha! This is why we're sound checking. Ha ha ha! We're capturing this one. Talk now, Josh and Elijah.
Elijah,
Hello.
talk first.
Hello.
There we go.
Um,
This is why we check sound.
We should have done this
Am I just
before
screaming
the
in y'all's
stream
ears?
actually started.
Well, it's actually better this way. We actually used to do this for every podcast episode, but then we ended up getting busier and busier. But I'm like, we have to go back to doing it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Elijah, you're actually hot for once.
What? I'm always
Not sorry, not hot.
quiet.
Yeah.
Elijah is always hot. Wait, what?
Aw, Thank you.
Josh, I'll turn you up.
Thank you. I'm still a pixely little guy.
Yeah, you still are.
Time to fix that.
Josh, you're still like quiet, even though I've turned you up.
Really?
Yeah.
My input volume is maxed.
Yeah, I also just think you need to speak up.
I do mumble. That is
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, maybe you should do that. Elijah, talk.
Hello. How's it going? I'm really tired.
Maybe I just need to turn myself down. That's my gain turned down a little bit. Josh, you talk?
Hello.
Elijah, talk?
Hello. I'm not copying Josh at all. Hello.
I guess I could turn my mic input gain up. Wait, no, that's not.
That's what I did on my mic, except to turn it down.
That's headphone volume. I just don't want it to be too loud.
Actually, hold on. Don't touch anything. Keep talking.
Hello. I
Hello.
cannot wait to win tonight.
Talk
I'm gonna
again.
make the best predictions. Cool.
Hello. Elijah.
Hello.
There we
My
go.
computer's trying to turn off on me.
All right, Josh, one more hello.
Hello.
Okay, not directly into your mic like that.
Yeah, not we're in the soundtrack, not the time for that.
Hello.
He did it again.
That wasn't directly into my mic.
Now I talk? Now I can turn up my gain. Hello. All right, we're good. I'm going to intro us in because I forgot to write Elijah an intro read today
Oh yeah.
because he was supposed to do it this week. Oops. Alrighty. Hello, welcome to Behind the Scenes of Preston versus Elijah. We're going to actually record the Preston versus the Elijah. In 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Preston versus Elijah podcast. I'm Preston. Over there's Elijah. Say hi.
Hi.
And guess who's back?
Shady's back?
No, not Slim Shady. Unless you want to be Slim Shady, then we might need to rethink some of your life choices. You need to be on more drugs.
Yep.
We got to start your rap career. You got to start speaking faster.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
way fast.
Okay.
You have to somehow
Back when I was in middle school, I actually wanted to be a Christian rapper and had Christian raps that I wrote and performed at youth group.
Cringe.
Oh.
There's the T.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
That's the T. Josh is back. Say hi, Joshy Poo.
Oh gosh, why are you doing this to me?
Because this is the Preston versus Elijah podcast. Each and every week, Elijah, myself, and maybe a friend or two sit down and talk about whatever the hell we want. This week, you're going to find us back talking about Fantasy Critic, which is why Josh is here, even though we won't be talking about Fantasy Critic every time Josh is here. And also, we're going to be talking about our Summer Games Fest season predictions, and we're going to be playing a little game that goes alongside with it. This could possibly be our longest episode yet, or we can still somehow miraculously find ourselves still in the 2-hour mark. Fingers crossed. I'm so tired. A couple of housekeeping things. Number one, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you're listening live, tomorrow this podcast will go live on podcast services. That is YouTube podcast. That is Apple podcast. That is Spotify. Go give us a download, rate us 5 stars. Please, I'm begging you. I will kiss you on your metaphorical mouth. Unless you're a minor. No. That's illegal.
That is in fact illegal.
That's illegal. But please give us
I'll
5
give you a
stars.
crisp high five.
Yeah, Josh will give you a. Josh will personally show up to your house and give you a high five.
It's also probably illegal.
Who's to say? So yeah, come hang out. It'll be a good time. Give us those 5 stars, please. I'm begging you, please. We also have merch. If you're watching live, ! Merch. Hey, Josh, you know this one. What month is it?
It's May.
It's gotta be Froggy May. Froggy May. We have the Froggy May merch line. Go get yourself a Froggy May shirt or hoodie. Panic just told me today that he's not buying a shirt, he's buying the hoodie because he doesn't know which frog he wants to pick.
Oh, smart.
It's totally fair.
Yeah. So yeah, go buy yourself a Froggy May. Shirt using our merch. Josh is showing off the. Well, actually, we are using the green frog for a different thing. Josh, guess what we're doing?
Oh no, what are you doing?
We are getting IRL Drew his own Froggy May shirt, and it's gonna be the green frog. And he's gonna be the only person in existence to have the green shirt.
That's actually so sick.
It's so funny.
One of Drew's angels.
Yeah, one of Drew's angels. If you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to episode 4, Froggy May, Froggy Day, and Preston, Elijah, Yap, and catch up. Go watch that episode. It's a fun time. It's episode 4. Yeah, it's episode 4. Yep, I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, go watch that. Go buy our merch. It's fun stuff. It helps support the channel. Shout out to Dubby for supporting this podcast. Elijah.
Yeah.
Elijah, what if I
Yes.
told you in the year of our Lord, 2025, that there was a company that made a drink that had 0 sugar, maltodextrin filler, artificial colors or dyes, secret formulas, hidden ingredients, and is gluten-free? Would you believe me?
Yes.
Would you believe me if I said if it's cheaper than buying a cup of coffee?
No.
Well, guess what? Dubby is. It comes in unique flavors. You won't feel any crashes or jitters. And you can support us here at Preston vs. Elijah by heading to Dubby.gg to buy some of their amazing products by using PVEW at checkout. When you do so, you get 10% off your order, and it supports us. Thank you for Dubby for supporting this podcast. With that being said, gentlemen, been a minute since we've sat down in a voice call and I've talked about Fantasy Critic inside of one of the Discords we have. I'm not going to say specifically which one because it's not the main Discord that people here can follow. We have been talking about the league.
Mhm.
Let's address 2 elephants in the room before we start talking about individual games that actually have come out.
I'm so upset right now.
Well, Josh, tell me your feelings about the league and the state of the league. You give me your feelings.
I should have won off of one specific game, and then the day after that happens, there is basically no possible way for you to lose.
So explain to me what game should have helped you boost yourself to the lead, And then what news announcement boosted me back up to the lead?
I got 10 more points than projected on Expedition 33. So it went from 14 to 24, which launched me into first place. And then the day afterwards, Grand Theft Auto 6 was announced to be coming out next year. So you now lose 0 points from counterpicking Grand Theft Auto 6, which means that there is no conceivable way for you to lose this draft.
Well,
And
I don't think I think there was a world in which you and I would have still been very close. And that was also a world in which Marvel's 1943 also came out.
Dude, oh my gosh. It was the best week and then the worst week.
And I'm also here.
Elijah, you are now at 149 projected points, and you went from
Hey.
172.
On my screen, it says 148.
Why does ours have a 1 point difference? What game? I'm refreshing my page. What game
I'm also
dropped a
refreshing my
point?
page.
Okay, it went up a point. You got one of your games went up in projected points.
Yay, 149. Woo! I'm still going to lose miserably.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid went up 1 point because of the news that happened this week with that game.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah. We all know what that news is, but like, if you want to like tell the chat what that news is, that'd be
It's
very
getting
interesting.
good in previews.
Yay!
People,
If only GTA 6 was coming out this year.
Oh yeah,
Real-
it would win.
oopsie. I might have won the league.
Oopsie, I'm pretty sure you did it on purpose.
No, because Grand Theft Auto 6, I said that in our initial Fantasy Critic stream. I said that in our initial stream that this is either going to it was okay. For those who watch our content regularly, this is like me buying the big piranha plant in Mario Party. It was either going to pay off and get me a star, or I was going to be wasting my time and my resources. I did not waste my time and I stole the star.
Yeah, you did.
And my next counter pick, which if you don't follow our list, I'll post the link in the description in chat if you want to read our fantasy league, our fantasy critic league list with us live. There's the link. Have fun. You can read it. It's an open public one that people can read. You can also follow it, which is cool. And so anytime there's an update, you get notifications for it. Judas was supposed to come out like this month.
Really?
I think it's been under TBA for a while.
When talking in interviews, the original release window was May of 2025, and then it got moved to TBD.
Announcement date changed from no date to Thursday, December 8th, 2022.
2022, then at some point in May of 2025, and it's now just indefinitely delayed because apparently
It was supposed to be March 2025.
Oh no, then I'm 2 months out. I got my M's mixed up. Yeah, we are a little bit far off from that. Yeah.
I really want this game to come out this year. I also really want to play it because I love this guy's games, but I'm
Josh,
so scared.
Josh,
I have no hope.
Josh, for those who don't know,
You've told me about this.
No. What is Judas? Who is making Judas? Why are you excited for it?
Judas.
So, for those of you who remember the big resurgence of immersive sims, way back in the day with it started out with Deus Ex and then like Thief and then System Shock. BioShock and System Shock 2 were made by Ken Levine, and he's basically like the godfather of immersive sims, one of the best storytellers in gaming history. He also made the original Thief the Dark Project, which
Yep.
is a classic, amazing game as well. He made BioShock and all those games, and now he has made his own game studio called Ghost Story Games, and Judas is a new immersive sim made by Ken Levine, but it is now in development hell, and his micromanaging over every single thing in the game is really hindering production, to say the least.
Yep. And
I'm pretty sure people are leaving, right?
Yeah,
People are leaving the studio from burnout.
Yeah, from burnout. People are leaving Ghost Story from burnout. He can't find. He's bleeding more people than he can hire. Which is why, update to my counterpicks list. I counterpicked Judas because I don't think that game's coming out this year. I think I'm gonna go for a 3 for 3. This game's not coming out this year.
Is this game ever going to
Really?
come out? Is the real question.
Yeah, I think that's a valid question. Will Judas ever come out? The spiritual
if you're going-
Is
successor.
it going to be?
If you're going for 3 for 3, how come you didn't counterpick Hollow Knight Silksong already?
Well, Hollow Knight Silk Song. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh,
I
I'm not.
cannot believe this is a real thing.
I can't believe this game is actually real.
I'm getting screwed over with all the games that should actually come out this year.
Oh,
I agree that Silksong is a good counterpick too. You just got unlucky that they actually decided to release it.
oh. Because listen, I love Ken Levine too. I love System Shock 2. I love Thief. I
Mhm.
love BioShock.
BioShock is
I
incredible.
BioShock 2 is not Ken Levine. BioShock 3 has issues, but I still like it.
It's still so much fun. It's not the problem with BioShock 3 is that it's not really an immersive sim.
It's not really an
It's more of
immersive
just it's just more of a straightforward
action shooter.
first person shooter.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what an immersive sim is, it's basically a game. Think of like an RPG, but instead of having like choices that you can make like in dialogue and like a certain type of combat, immersive sims, Prey is another really good example where the entire point of the game is emergent gameplay, whether intended or not. It is things that you do in the game that completely like the story essentially becomes what you make of it. So combat can be completely circumvented. You can use things that are not weapons as weapons. There's mini games. There's little mini stories that can be completely missed because they're not anywhere on a map. It is basically like you basically create the story of the game as you play it.
Yeah. And like the newest Stalker 2 is an
Yeah.
immersive sim, and I heard it's
Not good.
fantastic. I've heard it's fantastic, and I've heard it's not good, and I've heard nothing in between.
The problem with Stalker 2 is that it's literally not finished.
Which some would argue that's the same problem Stalker 1 has.
Well, dude, okay,
It
so I
sounds
got
like they just need to start finishing their games.
I have been funny enough stalking my Stalker games on Steam because I like Stalker.
Stalker, guys.
I really do like Stalker a lot. And I noticed in my library that there were enhanced editions of the Stalker games that I did not purchase. They made enhanced editions of Stalker, the original trilogy, and they came out yesterday, and they are already mostly negatively reviewed because it looks like somebody smeared Vaseline over the camera lens, and
No!
they removed content from the game and then censored other things because it has to do with the Soviet Union.
So they gave the camera the Scream 4 treatment and then took stuff out of the game.
Yeah.
That's
That's-
lovely.
Not enhanced.
And they also, so you can still get the originals. you cannot search them on Steam. You have to have
Really?
somebody who has them give you a link to the store page because you cannot get to it on Steam.
That
That's
They
sucks.
delisted the originals.
so stupid.
Yep.
Well, if
And
this
if
was
you get the originals, you still get the enhanced for free.
so, what I'm hearing is a spitting endorsement of the Stalker franchise.
Get the originals. I will post a link. The Stalker franchise, the first 3 are incredible. Stalker 2 is literally unfinished, and they straight up lied about things that would actually be in the game.
Yeah, I feel like
Crazy.
what ended up happening was that the people who had no expectations for Stalker 2 are like, "This is amazing," and then the people who had expectations for Stalker 2 are the people who don't like it.
Yep, basically.
Yeah, it's a Fable 2 situation.
Mm, yeah.
Promise
Good
the
immersive
world.
sims.
Yeah, please play good immersive sims. Immersive sims are actually one of my favorite genres.
I
Like,
really, really, really want Judas to come out this year.
it's not, dude. I would be if it does come out this year, it's not going to be well reviewed. I don't think it's going to be well reviewed.
Yeah, fair. Makes
Elijah,
me sad.
Yeah.
looking at your fantasy critic list,
Yes.
Grand Theft Auto 6 not included. Uh, you had no games released.
Yeah, I've had 2 games release this year total.
Yep.
And we talked about them
Nothing
last
has
time.
released
Uh,
since the last time.
I do want to say you did have one, in my opinion, solid. You've only bought one game since. You have the most money in the league still.
Oh yeah, I forget about that.
You added one game. Tell me about what you remember of the Eternal Life of Goldman.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I just saw it in, I believe it was the Nintendo Direct.
Yep.
And I was just like, I don't think anybody else is gonna bid for it. It looks pretty good. So I got it.
Can you?
Did you spend like $1 on it?
Yep.
Now, I know for a fact that's exactly what Elijah did, because I'm going to ask you this next question. Do you remember a single goddamn thing about this game?
I remember that it's a 2D platformer about an old guy.
2D platformer in the style of what?
Just
Oh, that's
hold
actually
on.
beautiful.
Um,
That is
give me
beautiful.
one moment.
This
Are
is
you
literally the first I'm ever hearing about this. This is beautiful.
I have no idea.
DuckTales.
No.
DuckTales, you jackass.
I don't
DuckTales.
know, man.
DuckTales, you jackass.
Elijah, Have you ever seen
Bro, I've seen
DuckTales?
the trailer once. Bro, I'm watching the trailer on Steam right now. Bro, that does look like DuckTales, kinda.
Elijah, have you ever seen DuckTales?
Yes.
Okay, good. Have you seen the original DuckTales?
like DuckTales,
Like,
both the show
maybe
and
an
also
episode.
the
video
original
game.
the
Yeah,
video game.
Yeah, the
Okay.
video game. I know more about the video game than I know about the show.
that's fair.
I don't know anything about the show. I know the video game is good.
You know who did the remaster and the remake for the original DuckTales game?
Oh,
Way Forward.
really?
It is. I don't think you can buy it anymore because it got delisted.
Aw.
But it is legitimately one of the best platformer remakes ever.
Really?
And it modernizes the controls, but it doesn't take away the NES hard difficulty.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you get a 2.5 hand-drawn DuckTales game in the style of the original 90s show. With a majority of the 90s voice actors who aren't dead returning. So it was the guy who voiced Scrooge McDuck in the 90s. It was his last role was doing the DuckTales video game.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. It was his last role at Disney was doing that game. I also agree with you. I think one of the things that I like about doing Fantasy Critic is finding those games that it's like, okay, I have to like pay attention to games coverage. And Eternal Life of Goldman, because it got highlighted weirdly long enough during the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, immediately popped my attention. Now, I do want to point something out. This is totally a tangent. Elijah, you're getting told by Panic to quote, go fucking watch the DuckTales now, Elijah.
Oh, okay, I guess I'll head out, guys.
Yeah.
Gotta go watch some ducks.
Uh, now, I'm of the opinion that both shows are good. The original and the reboot.
I have seen a few episodes of the reboot.
Yeah. The reboot is way okay. Funny enough, comic book tangent time. Everyone, ring the tangent bell. The comic book actually has more in common with the original the adventure comic strip than it does the original TV show. But it still references the original TV show. Panic, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I love the new show more than the original, and I grew up with the original. You're wrong. Anywho, moving on back to games
Dang.
coverage.
We're doing a podcast and he's still arguing with chat.
I know.
That's called talent right there.
Yeah, I know, right? I will talk about DuckTales reboot all day. It's the way that it's done is mwah. But anywho, I'm looking at your list, Josh. Oh yeah, you
There's
probably
only really one.
there's only one game we really need to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, floor is yours.
How long can I go on this?
As long as you need.
Okay, so when we did the draft, I'm looking through I'm just looking through games because I don't really know a whole lot about this. So I'm looking through games that are coming out, and I see one game called Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I'm like, that name sounds very strange. And so I Google it in the middle of the draft, and I look at the Wikipedia, and I see the cast list. And I'm like, okay, the cast list, literally know nothing about the game whatsoever. The cast list alone, and I draft it.
I do remember this.
It was supposed to give me 14 points. It is now the highest rated game of the year. I played it. I'm going to platinum it. It is one of the single greatest video games I have ever played in my entire life. It is the best JRPG since Final Fantasy IX. It has the best score in all of gaming since Final Fantasy VIII, or even Chrono Trigger if you want to go further back. They found the composer for the game's soundtrack on SoundCloud, and the dude made a 150 song soundtrack for this game, and it is one of the most incredible pieces of music you will ever hear. The story is heartbreaking and beautiful. The characters are incredible. The themes are absolutely soul crushing. It does not pull any punches. It is, my review of the game is, this game was designed to hurt people. Yeah, it is truly a work of art that comes around once in a generation.
Okay.
So safe to say he didn't like it.
So yeah, so 7 out of 10, too much water. The game sucks. Long live
Horrible.
Long live live service games is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that genuinely does sound like a game that I would not like.
Okay, here's the thing.
I would like the story. I wouldn't like playing it.
The game's director left Ubisoft because he was bored and
because
made
he was
this as his first game.
Of you leaving Ubisoft.
He was bored. I think the exact quote was bored making the same game over and over again.
Yeah, because he was working on their live service games and was just like, why do I have to keep on putting stupid monetization into this game that could actually be good without it? and he just got really, really tired and bored of doing the same thing over and over and over again, day after day, and then split off, got one other dude to join him. Dude, it's called Expedition 33. 33 people plus a dog worked on this game with some
Plus a dog.
outsourcing. Plus some outsourcing to like South Korea. But the core development team of this game was 33 people, most of whom have never worked in the video game industry before, and a couple of them are from Ubisoft and just didn't enjoy their time there. This game is an actual fucking miracle.
Now, what's crazy about this, and I think not full exact parallels with Squaresoft with Final Fantasy, right?
Mm.
But the difference is that like Squaresoft was about to go close when Final Fantasy was developed, right?
Mhm.
And I think what's crazy about this, it's like it's not that they were gonna close if this game didn't come out and didn't make it well. They had Microsoft backing money. They had a safety net.
Yeah.
But like the attitude of I just want to make the game I want to make without any
Mhm.
interruption, and damned if it's successful, damned if it's not.
Yeah. Did I post there's a video that I saw, and it was Sven from the Game Awards this year, and it was his closing monologue about what Game of the Year 2025 would
Oh,
look like, and he literally described
bribes.
Expedition 33.
I've seen that
Dang.
video, and I've seen that video, and the fact that I can name 2 games this year that are that is kind of crazy.
What's the second one?
Uh, Josh is now number 2 game of the year, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yep.
Yeah, he was so confident that that was going to be game of the year.
I thought it would be my new favorite game of all time when I
Nope.
picked it, because I have such an emotional tie to that story from the first game. And there are a couple of things in the second that I wish had been handled a little bit differently. But overall, incredible game. Claire Obscure is, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just, dude, I full on sobbing for like multiple hours of cutscenes. Dude, Ben Starr, what? Ben Starr did like a decent job in Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
I had never really heard him in anything else. He is so unbelievably good in this game.
He's
Jennifer
good.
English is incredible as Shadowheart. Does not hold a candle to her performance as Mael in Expedition 33.
And I'm so excited to start it next week.
Mael is one of the best. Mael and Verso both are two of the best characters in gaming. Like, in all, how many games do I own? 395, 400. In like the 600 plus games that I have played, they are two of the greatest main characters I've ever seen in a video game. Like, the writing of this game, I can't even fathom how these writers got into the place that they had to be in for years while working on this game.
I mean, I
wouldn't have been able to do it.
I can imagine why. Do you want to hear my thought process?
Yeah.
They're French.
Yeah. Dude, if you like recently like have gone through any form of grief, this game is just soul wrenching. They voice things and they say things in this game that which is why I can't imagine what they were going through when they wrote it, because like they seem very happy, but at the same time, some of these lines, I'm like, you guys have been through stuff very recently.
I wouldn't even. I think there's a possible world in which it wasn't recent, but they're able to draw healthily from those emotions for writing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
I
not
don't
be
know,
surprised
man.
if I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those things where it's like, well, why did Corley Barlog write the reboot of God of War 2018 the way he
Right.
did? It's because his
Yeah.
experience of being a father and
Mhm.
what fatherhood in that moment. Obviously, that very much bleeds through the story of that game. I can imagine that the
Mhm.
same thing could happen with this game, but you can never know. We won't know until probably GDC next year when they do a deep dive on this game. And
Yeah.
when that GDC panel for this game drops, I'm going to be absorbing every hour of it.
Mhm. Elijah, I actually think that you might enjoy the gameplay of this one.
Um, what is the gameplay of this one?
So it is a turn-based RPG.
Wait,
However, in combat, on enemy turns, you real time dodge, parry, and jump over enemy attacks, and you can take 0 damage in any fight. Incredible amounts of customization, builds like millions of damage by end game. The game is turn based, but as soon as the enemy's turn hits, it turns into a real time
Oh,
combat
actually,
scenario.
hold on, Josh. I have to translate for you. Are you ready?
yeah.
Anime Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Oh, that does sound fun. Yeah, why did Josh use so many words?
Yeah. So, Josh, I hate to
I've
break to
never
you.
played Mario and Luigi.
I know it's fine. You could have said Paper Mario too, and he would have probably liked it. Uh,
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, Josh, when you're explaining game concepts to Elijah, if it's not Kirby, Mario, or Sonic terms, he won't understand it.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
that is very true.
Super Mario RPG, but with Final Fantasy aesthetics,
So, Super Mario RPG.
I guess.
The original one that literally has a Final Fantasy super boss.
Yeah, fair.
Now, Josh, I do have to correct you on one thing. Claire
Mhm.
Obscura Expedition 33 is the highest rated game only on Metacritic. We don't use Metacritic as
Uh,
we don't use Metacritic as a metric for
it's
Fantasy Critic. We
open
use Open,
critic.
and there is one game none of us drafted that is tied for first place, and it is probably my game of the year so far.
It upsets me.
What upsets you that you didn't upsets you that you none of us drafted it, or upsets you that it ends up being one of my favorite games of this year?
Both.
Ah, let me sing you the tales of Kylie and I being up until 11 o'clock at night with a journal in my lap as we are both playing Blueprints. I wish I was able to get the journal from her tonight so I could just read you my madman notes that I forced her to have now. Holy crap. Is that game a masterclass of puzzle design? The
Is it?
lay the layers upon layers. So, for those who don't know what Blueprints is, if you haven't watched my stream, or shout it to Elijah's favorite streamer and my favorite streamer, but especially Elijah's favorite streamer, Kai
Yeah, it's
Cozy
my favorite
stream,
streamer.
sister channel of this podcast and Twitch channel. Go follow Kai Cozy stream. Uh, Originally, Kai's Cozy stream was a segment on our channel for when Elijah and I didn't want to stream, but Kylie was in a gaming mood, and we needed to keep the algorithm letting people know that we're alive.
Yeah.
Uh, Instead, Panic, Gas, Mast, and the other people in the night shift have now forcibly asked Kylie to start her own channel, and
I
she
I would
did.
I would put it, as lovingly bullying her.
That's fair. Lovingly bullied her into getting her own channel. And so now she's almost exclusively played Blueprints on her channel about once a week. Uh, with me being there for most of the time, or at least being in chat. I had to ban someone in her chat for soliciting the other day. It was great. Uh,
Oh, fun.
they literally looked at the PNG tuber I made her. They go, "Wow, isn't that a cute thing?" And she goes, "Yeah, everything you see on screen, my boyfriend made, and he does graphics all the time. Isn't it great?" and you can tell it was a bot auto responding to pauses in between the diet and for what she said, like trying to time out and listen for sound waves. Kind of really creepy that they could do that. He goes, "What?
Yeah,
Are
it
you
is
looking for?
pretty cool. Yeah, they
Are
can
you
do that.
looking for new artwork and overlays?" And then I immediately, well, before the second she said hi, and her an artist name was PNG Tuber Artist '08. Immediately after she said hi, commented, "I swear to God, if you're soliciting in this chat, I'm banning your ass." And then proceeded to solicit in chat, and I proceeded to
Kill you,
ban their
Preston.
ass. Uh,
That's hilarious.
but like okay, now I can actually finish my sentence. Blueprints is both a puzzle game and a roguelike, in which the rooms in this house you are building, which is the roguelike part aspect of it, in solving these puzzles in, is a 5x9 grid. And in that 5x9 grid, you every time you enter a possible door, you draft 3 blueprints into the house to try and to find the hidden 46th rumored room that your uncle left you in this mansion he's given you as part of your inheritance.
I wish my uncle would give me a mansion.
It's a mansion that resets its size every day that you have to build every day.
I still wish my uncle would give me a mansion.
That's so fair. Uh, what seemed like, because Kylie and I are puzzle goblins. I wish we would post some of the VODs. There were some moments in the VOD where I had a dumb brain, amazing light bulb moment for how to solve a puzzle, and Kylie looked at me in shock that I could figure it out. But then there's moments
Well,
Kylie
then
does that too.
I was just about to say, well, then there's the wait, it's a Christmas tree. They're dates. Try 1225.
That's what I'm referring to. That's what I'm referring to.
After how many hours?
The light bulb clicking of the date on the lock is Christmas. It's Christmas.
I have no idea what is going on right now because I do not have time to catch the streams, but this sounds very entertaining.
Oh no.
Great game.
When Kylie and I play together, we make it entertaining. But it's like you get a limited amount of steps per day. Every time you enter into a new room, it's a step, and every time you leave that room, it's a step. Right? And so you're managing your footsteps, you're doing puzzles, and then there's like you start noticing details like why in the world are there chess pieces in some of the rooms? And you're like, that's probably nothing, right? And then after 20 hours of gameplay, you find a secret underground tunnel that leads to a room where the only thing in there is a soul chessboard with exactly the same type of chess pieces you've been finding all around the house. And they gives you a puzzle that's saying, you know those puzzle pieces you keep, or those chess pieces you're finding? There's a puzzle related to them. Have fun.
What?
It's a game in which your reward for solving puzzles is harder puzzles.
That's
in the
fantastic.
best way possible.
I need to keep playing it.
Kylie, if you're wondering how far Kylie is, Kylie has. So I've spoiled myself on the game because I have now relegated myself at least up to finding room 46. Everything past that I have not spoiled myself in.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kylie is now behind the average on finding room 46. However, that's not her fault. She's just had bad RNG, as some roguelikes are. Like, legitimately, her day has ended for some of the dumbest reasons. And there are certain rooms.
Any more of the rumpus rooms?
Dude, ever since we found the rumpus room, Kylie is now at the point where the rumpus room hints are no longer helpful. They are so cryptic
Really?
and so weird that she's like, I have no idea how this would make sense at all.
That first one broke my brain.
Elijah, the rumpus room is a little game parlor room in which there is one of those animatronic fortune tellers that is creepy, actually tells you your actual future, and gives you hints about some of the puzzles in the game, but it is so cryptic.
They put actual future telling into blueprints.
Well, okay, minor spoilers about the lore of blueprints, but we've discovered in the lore of this fake world, because it doesn't take place on Earth, actual sorcery and rune magic exists.
Oh.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
why
is
I'm
that
looking
why
at it.
one of my friends was saying that he legitimately learned a conlang because
Yep.
of this game?
Yep. 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 Yep.
He speaks a fake language
Yep.
because of this game.
Yep. Yep. They have a full original language as part of the code breaking of this game.
I
What?
honestly, like, I can't even
Why?
fathom how it gets to that point.
What?
And Kylie and I are only scratching the surface of that stuff. The
That is
puzzles in this game are legitimately up there with some of the best puzzles in any game. Like, I've played The Witness, and that game has insane
Yeah.
puzzles. Uh, the level of puzzle telling or puzzle making in that, like, there are puzzles in this game that I know they are setting me up for that I know I will not have the answers or start even being able to figure out how to dissect it until we get to room 46. Because the reward for getting to the secret room 46, which is like the main goal of rolling credits, is that congratulations, getting to room 46 was actually the tutorial. Have fun.
which is absolutely diabolical.
That sounds about right, to be honest, though.
There are some puzzles that have been hinted at that specifically with the magic rune. We found a magic rune coder, and the magic runes, it's incomplete. So there's certain pages that are ripped out or have pages missing from it that we'd have to figure out on our own based off of environmental storytelling of like what the runes mean and like what the symbology means. The runes are also connected to different quote unquote realms. So aka the powerhouses of the world. That's where the red prince and the blue prince come in. Uh
Oh yeah.
Outside of blueprints being like you're drawing blueprints to go through the house. It's a play on
Yeah.
words. Uh there are certain things that we're learning with that and we're playing with that. It's like, oh, we're now realizing that some of the symbology has been in the house the whole time.
Hmm.
One of the puzzles we only solved because I remembered that there's some statues inside one of the crypts that matches the stained glass paintings in the chapel, and that I remember that underneath every stained glass painting there was a number under each one of those stained glasses. Meaning, oh, that's probably the code in which we have to flip the arms on each one of those statues.
This game seems very, 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 very convoluted.
It's honestly not convoluted. If it was just here's a bunch of puzzles, figure it out. I think
Mhm.
the way that doesn't make it convoluted is the way that it stacks its puzzles and every single puzzle builds upon the last one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like
That makes
it's
sense.
cohesive.
It's
So it
so
doesn't feel like just random puzzles being thrown at you. It's like, hey, this has been actually set up the entire time. You just
and
didn't know.
and because it's a roguelike, the solutions to certain puzzles or certain events that happen in the house can be found in more than one place and more than one means. So, for example, in the dart room, which is where you can play darts and it has a bar in there, there is a dartboard puzzle that is revert. The answer to it is reverse PEMDAS. You have to solve an equation based off of certain dart board lighting up certain colors and doing reverse PEMDAS with those colors. One color equals addition, one color equals subtraction, one's division, one's multiplication, and then if there's
And
a
then you can a
square,
classroom, right?
you can find that in the classroom, or if you look really closely on that dartboard and look at what's
Mhm.
been erased, the last person who tried to do this puzzle in the house didn't fully erase it off of that board inside of the dart room. So you can also figure out the puzzle that way too.
That is actually really cool.
Uh, if you just pay attention to the environment, and or someone in one of the other rooms will leave a note giving you the exact way how to solve that puzzle inside like a hand scrawled note. So there's three ways to figure out that's the solution to that puzzle.
Oh my gosh.
And so the way that
Yeah,
it
I
weaves it into the environmental storytelling about all of that, and not only that, but there's more than just the puzzle of here's the puzzle to get to room 46. There's also the puzzle of why is my family estranged? Why does my dad not like my great uncle who's making me inherit this house? Why is my dad okay with sending me to do this inheritance thing? What happened to my character's mom? Uh like all of these things is a puzzle, is a lore puzzle in and of itself. Some of the solutions to the lore puzzles tie into house puzzles. Some of the house puzzles tie into lore puzzles.
The amount of times you have said puzzles in the last 2 minutes has broken my brain.
It is genuinely like a handful of people worked on this game. Genuinely one of the best puzzle games of all time. And it's only $30 or a Game Pass game.
And
That's
none
insane.
of us even thought to draft it.
Yeah.
Here's the problem is that I had seen previews for it, but by the time we were drafting, I totally forgot about it.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
And by the time it came up on my radar, it was because the reviews had dropped and people were saying it was their game of the year.
Dang.
So go play Blueprints, go play Claire Expedition 33. They both have this in common. They have a 92 on OpenCritic. They're the two high. They even on Metacritic, it's still in the top 5 rated games of all of the year. I think it has like an 87. It's it's either 83 or 87, some weird prime number. Go legitimately download it. Those games, they both are completely different tastes, but like both are contenders for game of the year so far. They both do what they set out to do, expert in like an expert level way.
It would blow my mind if Blueprints wins this year, but it would be extremely deserved.
There's some people who are like Expedition 33 is up there with some of their favorite games of all time. But then they also say so is Blueprints, and they're still thinking about the puzzles and Blueprints and how deep it can go.
My brain doesn't go deep enough for this game.
The creator of Blueprints says no one has 100% of the game yet.
Which is insane.
And it's been out for over a month and a half. So
that is crazy.
On my list, what released? Wanderstop came out? No, that's you. Wanderstop came out for you. That did really well. I was looking at the wrong list. Oh, guys, guess what? Elder Scrolls Oblivion came out. Remaster came out.
Oh, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. Insane.
Crazy. It's like the rumors were true. It got an 82, which is more than it was projected to get. So suck it.
But what about the Skyrim remaster?
I haven't posted that clip yet. I haven't posted that podcast clip yet, but we have a podcast clip in which, well, haven't they remastered on this? Yep. What about this? Yep, it's already there. What about here? Yep. And Elijah didn't know that they have Skyrim for Alexa.
I did not know that. I also do not know how that works.
Wait, Josh,
what?
do you not know about this? Okay, so
I feel like I've heard about it, but I thought it was jokes.
No. Bethesda actually released it for Alexa. It was a publicity stunt. They announced it right before Fallout 76 at their E3 presentation that year.
That's actually hilarious.
Keegan-Michael Key starred in the commercial for it, and it's him playing Skyrim with his Alexa.
I love that they're kind of in on the joke while still not getting that the joke is how horrible it is that they're milking that game for 15 years without releasing a new one.
So Josh, let me ask you this question. I
was in elementary school when that game came out.
Josh, let me ask you a question. Why do you need new game when old game good?
Okay, but it's debatable.
Old game is not good.
It's debatable.
Game is not good. Skyrim is not good.
I love playing Skyrim, and I even fully admit because I was talking even with Gassifras about this today. Uh, I don't think Skyrim is better than Oblivion
I
by
think
a.
Skyrim is probably the single weakest Elder Scrolls game.
Have you
Okay.
played the first one?
Let me rephrase my
I've
question.
played
then.
tiny little bits of it. It's not actually that bad.
It's not that bad. I would still argue Skyrim is better than it.
Plot-
Uh,
I
Josh,
mean, from a scale wise, maybe. Yeah.
why would they make a new game if they can put no effort into re-releasing an old
No.
game
No.
40 times and it sells and makes a ton of money?
Let me ask a different
That's
question.
fair. That's fair.
Let me ask a different
That's
question.
fair.
Why would they release a new game when Jenna will buy the same game 40 times?
Jenna has only bought it once, to my knowledge.
She's bought upgrades and DLC.
Yeah, but that's only buying it once.
So Josh, now actually legitimately ask you a question. So the rumor is that Fallout Season 2 is going to drop. And with that, they're going to release either a Fallout 3 remastered, or because that doesn't make sense, New Vegas should be the remaster that drops with that. Virtuous is dropping Fallout 3 and New Vegas remastered. At what point does Virtuous get told by Bethesda, you're making the Elder Scrolls Skyrim visual remaster?
You know, there's just some questions that shouldn't be asked. Yeah. You know, the day that happens, it's gonna be a sad day for humanity. I'll tell you that much.
The internet is going to lose its shit.
It's gonna be really funny.
I could see the Twitter post now. They're releasing Skyrim again. Oblivion Oblivion fully deserved the remaster treatment, especially in the way they did it. Did I wish they used a different graphics engine other than Unreal 5? Yeah, because it's now you took a 5 gig game and you turned it into 120 gigs. And you have the same.
Why wouldn't you do that?
You have the same. You have the same NPC brain engine and scripting sequences.
Well, it's the same exact thing that Team Ninja did with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. They just took the Sigma game and then they ran it through Unreal for the graphics.
Yeah, for graphics, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And they were super transparent about it, which Ninja Gaiden 2 Black
was not
transparent with that.
No.
Which is actually, I think that's a negative notch against Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yep.
I think it's a negative mark on that. I think Virtuous being transparent about it, it's like, okay, we know what to expect. And it's okay, listen, like I've played through half of the game at this point. I could, knowing that I'm playing on console and it's way better optimized on console than it is PC, and knowing that people on PC had some optimization issues, still runs pretty good. Pretty good game.
Fair enough.
Really like it a lot.
Oblivion's a good game.
Yeah. For a long while, it was the black sheep of the franchise, and then it's become the franchise darling.
Yep.
People
well, that and Morrowind.
I was gonna say, you could ask an Elder Scrolls fan that's played Elder Scrolls for a long time, and they're gonna tell you Oblivion or Morrowind. And if anyone says Daggerfall, they're lying.
Daggerfall and Arena are free on GOG.
Yeah, they're free on GOG.
You guys are saying so many words.
So
good and Steam, but GOG is better because it's DRM free.
So Elijah, GOG,
yeah,
also run by CD Projekt Red people.
Okay.
And it like alternative to Steam, but Steam make DRM and don't let you own your games. You license game. GOG, you own a game.
Steam bad.
Yeah.
Steam bad, GOG good.
But like I still am gonna use Steam.
Yeah, because and that's a different topic for why Steam sucks sometimes. When I say sometimes, I mean 80% of the time.
I do mostly Like if it's an old game, I typically go with GOG just because
Yeah.
of their preservation program and the fact that it's DRM free. So like I own own is a strong word. I have Alpha Protocol on Steam.
Yeah.
Which is insane because can you get it anymore? It looks like you can, but they
Yeah.
took it down for a while.
There was a long
Like,
while
you
Alpha
straight up
Protocol wasn't available.
you couldn't get it because they didn't want you to be able to get it for some reason. But on GOG, if you get a game, you can the moment that you install that game to your computer, you can rip it to a thumb drive.
Yep.
And you can just have that game on your thumb drive
For life.
and have it forever and install it wherever. If GOG goes down, as long as you have that game for forever.
Yeah. You own it for
and
life.
Steam doesn't do that. Steam can take away games at any moment and you just have to deal with it. Like they at any moment they can remove a game that you paid $70 for from your Steam library and never give it to you again because you do not own your games.
Which is really dumb. The trend of companies being like, you don't actually own this product that we sold you for $60, $70, now $80 needs to die. This trend needs to die. It's awful.
Did you see the Borderlands 3 thing?
Or Borderlands 4?
Did I send or Borderlands 4? Did I send that in
I saw it live in the wild on Twitter myself, but I think
Okay.
Elijah's been so busy that he hasn't
I-
heard about this yet.
I have it pulled up. Elijah, you're not ready for this.
So Randy Pitchford, head of Gearbox, the director of I think the first Borderlands, not 2 and beyond.
This is from IGN. Randy Pitch from Getty. Well, it's IGN quoting Getty. Randy Pitchford tells fans concerned about Borderlands 4 costing $80, quote, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen, end quote.
No way, dude.
What makes it worse is that's not even the full quote. The full quote was, I was able to get this game so-and-so in 1982 on my minimum wage job for $80. And it's like the second you start bringing in $80 a year and you start doing the math of what was the quality of life, how could you buy an afford apartment on minimum wage then versus now?
I forgot that the economy is just completely different.
And the cost of living has gone up while the payment for people has not gone up for the average average person. So it's like, how far removed? Listen, Borderlands 4 up to this last week has had a very positive press circle. They had a state of play that showed the new gameplay loop, how it's more open world. It has what I would call the better parts of Destiny exploration as part of its main mechanics now. It showed off the new leveling system, the systems that they basically explicitly said some of the RNG elements from 3 that people hated are explicitly out and replaced with new systems, right? They were riding a high of, oh shoot, 2 of the writers, one of them is someone you both would know. They announced the writing team. One of them, both Iffy from Dropout is one of the writers for the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Iffy Nadiwe.
Huh. That's awesome.
The other one is one of the guys from Red vs. Blue is also one of the other co-writers for the game. So they're going back to a tone that's a little bit more irreverent and like Borderlands 2. And when people found that out, they're like, holy crap, that's amazing.
Good Red versus Blue or later Red versus Blue?
Good Red versus Blue.
Okay.
I would have not been excited if that was otherwise. And that was me as someone who loved Rooster Teeth.
Okay.
Like, holy crap. Like, that's amazing. And then One, Randy Pitchford this week himself personally has tanked the excitement for this game. One, by earlier this week confirming that this game will be heavily microtransactioned.
No, dude.
And then
Oh,
saying
why?
and then announcing himself that the game is going to be $80 and that if you're a real fan, you will find a way to buy the game.
Okay. I found the rest of the quote. He says that he doesn't know the actual cost, but will not rule out $80. And he said, the response. So the exchange, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increases of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. And here's his response. A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen.
Bro. Shut up.
I don't like this guy.
Randy Pitchford is what happens when you let a game studio head talk too much and let him have no PR person vet anything he's ever going to say. In the
There was
worst
another
possible
studio
way.
that just did that recently too. Where it was Nintendo.
Oh,
'Cause
Doug
Nintendo
Bowser.
was yes, he
It
was
was Doug
saying
Bowser.
it was very, very similar to Pitchford's things, and
What
then they
did Doug
had
say this
somebody
time?
else go in and do damage control for him.
What did Doug say this time?
Oh no. Doug Bowser.
It's this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was
Yeah.
something about prices and inflation affecting the Switch console and the price of it. And how some games are $80 and some games are $70. But his response to it was so brain dead.
Yep.
Someone update the week since I've complained about Nintendo Counter on this podcast.
We don't have that counter.
Oh yeah, it's because it happens every freaking week outside the D&D episode. God.
No, I'm pretty sure you slipped it in there during the D&D episode.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, Josh, you still looking for it?
Yeah, because it was like the problem was it was so like drenched in business talk that it just like was gross to read. But it was also because you have to pay money to use the C button.
Oh yeah,
The C button literally doesn't work unless you have a Nintendo online subscription, and whenever you press it in the middle of your game, you're going to get a pop-up telling you to buy a subscription to the Nintendo online service.
Yeah, because you can't use Nintendo Discord for free.
Oh, why can I not find this?
Why would you be able to use a button on your console for free? What?
Okay, here we go.
You're asking too much.
Here we go. We made a commitment by announcing the pricing of both the single SKU at $4.49 and then bundled SKU with Mario Kart World at $4.99. And we really thought it was important that we establish that price point even after further tariffs were announced to give customers that comfort that they would be able to purchase at that price point. Obviously, it's still a very fluid situation, and it's difficult to determine what may be happening in upcoming months or weeks. But our commitment is to find ways within existing market conditions or changing market conditions to make our projects, including Nintendo Switch 2, no, because it wasn't that. It was along the lines of, oh, I remember what it was now, because Microsoft did the same thing years ago. It was basically, if you can't afford the Nintendo
Oh,
Switch
that's
2,
right.
well, good news for you. We still have the Nintendo Switch 1, and you can always go and buy a Nintendo Switch 1 if you cannot afford a Nintendo Switch 2. Because Microsoft, like 10 years ago, when the
Did that for the
Xbox One was coming out, they were getting a lot of flack about how, like, there were people in the military who were in, like, Afghanistan at the time, and they're like, we can't get an Xbox One because if we get an Xbox One, it's always online, and we don't always have online. So we're not going to be able to play the games that we want to play on this console that we bought because we don't have stable internet. And his response to it was, well, good news for you. There's always an Xbox 360 that you can go out and buy, and it works just fine.
And that Xbox executive who said that would go on to lead Google Stadia.
And he
So
also,
really, he got what he deserved.
I can't remember if he actually quit or was fired, but the week after he was out of the company.
He was actively fired and then
Oh,
replaced
yeah.
immediately with Phil Spencer.
Yep.
And that was the start of the Phil Spencer reign.
Nintendo president tells what is it? Tells those who can't afford Switch 2 to just buy the original. Where's the exact quote? Because it's crazy. We recognize that there are some people who may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available, Bowser explained. He's presumably trying to highlight that the original Switch will continue to receive support long after the Switch 2 is released. However, that's not how some have taken the comments. It was the
That's
same
not what he's
thing
saying.
that
Possibly that's why we're
Don
not taking it
Matrick.
like that.
This is a direct quote from Xbox CEO Don Matrick at
Don
E3
Matrick.
2013. Quote, no internet connection? We have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360.
Oh my goodness.
And Don Matrick has stumbled
Crazy.
into other gaming CEO positions and then been immediately fired or let go when they failed. Over and over after that.
I cannot believe that this is real. By the way, it is almost 11 o'clock. Are we
I
ever
know.
going to get to
I was
predictions?
I was literally about to transition us into that.
As much as I love this.
I was literally about to transitioning. The only other game on my Fantasy Critic that it's worth note of talking about, the only game that fell 3 points under expectation was South of Midnight, and after playing that game, I understand why. I think some of the criticism of that game's story is not worth it. I think the thing that's holding that game back is that it feels like a PS2 game in combat wise in the worst way possible.
Hmm.
Like the story in that game is great. Panic and I both knowing people from New Orleans, as they say, as a local there. I'm not a local there. People
Clearly.
praise the voice acting of, wow, they have real New Orleans accents. And Cass and I, as people who know people from that area, were like, these are some of the worst voice acting accents trying to replicate that I've heard in my life.
Just play Mafia 3.
Real. Real. So real. Uh yeah, it's a game that if it came out during the PS3 era would have been received better.
Hmm.
I think its story is good. I think its gameplay. There are other games that try to do what it does in the modern era, such as the modern Ratchet and Clank games that do it infinitely better. But
Fair enough.
that's asking a second party Microsoft studio to be as good as Insomniac. So
It currently, at least user reviews on Steam and recent user reviews, is overwhelmingly positive.
yeah, people are enjoying the game. People are enjoying the game. There's some people who don't like its story, but are liking it for disliking it for the my name is Grums. I'm on Twitter. I want every single woman in a video game to be hot so I can jerk it.
Gosh.
But not to bring up Foxy Fighter 2 weeks in a row, because everyone I asked about the podcast episode said that was the highlight of the last episode.
It
Uh,
was.
yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, South of Midnight underperformed. Midnight Walk did exactly what I thought it was gonna do, which was 80 out of 100. Those were my games.
Hmm.
Alrighty, gentlemen. The last of this episode. Hopefully, we don't go later than an hour. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers
for real.
crossed.
I have a math test I need to do.
Oh Lord.
Uh, we might do this episode in 2 parts over 2 weeks. So here we are.
Yep, that's a possibility.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we'll
Because I'm
see.
not gonna lie to you, I've been doing math this whole time.
I've been doing math this whole time. Uh, we're playing the game. So we're entering Summer Games Fest season. Some calls it the Summer Game Mess because what used to be E3 and condensed into 1 week is now spread out from June 5th to August 19th. Uh, across the entire summer. So, starting with the Xbox Showcase on June 5th, ending with Gamescom opening night live on August 19th. We are going to be predicting everything that can be possibly predicted in the video game in terms of software. Maybe if you have a hardware one in there too. Predictions we can do. Each one of us will, one at a time, present one of, we'll say 5 for now. If we don't want to do this next week, we'll say we'll do 3 each. How does that sound?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I have 8 total.
I also have 8. I technically had 12 because Elijah didn't have time to prep his own. So I thought in Elijah's brain what he would predict.
Yeah.
Uh, we will present a prediction to the other 2 competitors. The other 2 competitors will then rank the prediction on one of 3 tiers. A bland prediction, it's predictable and safe. A mild prediction, one that is a little out there but not fully out of the question. And or a spicy prediction. That is a prediction that is super wild out there. Why would that happen this year or at all? Based on what level the prediction or what tier it's on, you get rewarded the corresponding points dependent on whether or not you get that prediction right. So if you have a bland one that's deemed by your peers, it's 1, mild is 3, spicy is 5. That is only if you get the prediction correct. Similar to Fantasy Critic, however, we won't get penalized for not doing this. We each get 2 counter picks. Your counter picks are corresponding on whether or not you are doing the reverse of the prediction. So if you're counter picking a bland, safe prediction, that's 5 points because of course it's going to happen, right? It's a bland one.
Mhm.
Mild is 3, spicy is 1.
Makes sense.
We are going to do the turn order from last place projected to first place projected. So it's going to be Elijah, Josh, then myself. The winner of this competition by the end of the summer will get to be the first draft pick in next year's Fantasy Critical League because we are adding in more people next year and we are drafting less games.
Oh my gosh.
Good. Those are 2
Okay.
good changes.
Yeah,
Yes.
fair enough.
And we're only doing 1 counter pick next year, thank God.
Oh, thank God.
Good, because I'm not filling mine. There's no shot.
So,
I
Elijah,
just don't want to lose 4 points.
what is your first prediction?
Okay. Guys, I thought long and hard
No, you didn't.
about these
you-
predictions. I spent so much time, I just had to make them perfect for this moment. So my first prediction is Silk Song at August Nintendo Direct.
Mm.
And I came up with that all by Preston's self.
Now, I did explain this one to you a few days ago. Why
You did,
that's a pretty. I would say that's a mild prediction.
yeah.
So, do you want me to explain why it's a mild
Yeah.
prediction? So,
No, I get it.
the
But you didn't explain it for everybody else.
it's a 2-layer prediction. It's assuming we're getting at least 2 Nintendo Directs this summer. One around Summer Games Fest, like they always do, early to mid June, and then Nintendo announced for the first time in almost a decade that they're going to be at Gamescom.
Okay.
Now, they haven't had a formal booth in Gamescom in a long time, and Gamescom is rumored to be the place where Silk Song is first playable
Which would be awesome.
on the show floor. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed Silksong has a booth.
Oh,
So that's why it's a mild. It's not like an out there prediction because we know Silksong has a booth. The rumor is that it's playable at that booth. And if Nintendo's there, they're probably having direct right before it.
That would make sense.
So I think it's mild. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility, but also I don't fully believe it's happening, but I still think there is room for it to happen.
okay. That makes sense. I'd probably go with that too then.
Mild. Lock it
Yeah.
in, everyone. Oh, Elijah, you're starting off with a mild prediction.
So we're writing that next to our things and our predictions when we make them.
Yeah, you can do that. I'll leave you to be the
Okay.
scribe.
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna do it when I edited the episode tomorrow, but save me time, Josh. Save me time. Josh,
Mm-hmm.
what's your first prediction?
I'm gonna come out of the gate swinging.
Okay.
Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, pre-recorded and playable demo at Summer Games Fest.
So you think in 2 weeks we're getting a pre-recorded demo at Summer Games Fest? We're not talking like Summer Game Fest. We're talking about like the Keeley event where he previews like trailers.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get like they like have a gameplay demo that they have made, kind of like they did for The Last of Us 2, where it transitions from trailer into actual gameplay. I think we're gonna get that at Summer Games Fest.
I think that's mild.
I would agree. What game are we talking about?
It's
I missed the name
the
of
new
the game.
the new
Oh,
the
the
new
new Naughty
Naughty
Dog?
Dog. The new Naughty Dog.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree that's mild.
I would agree that's mild.
Fair enough.
Mine is also a Naughty Dog prediction for my first one. Actually, no. Elijah knows what my first real one is. My second one's gonna be a Naughty Dog one. Half-Life 3 is shown at Summer Games Fest. No gameplay is fully shown. It is just a trailer. At Gamescom opening night live, we will see the first gameplay of Half-Life 3, and it will be released with a release date of mid-December.
Okay, here's the thing. I was looking at things last night and I saw that was like popping up on multiple people like online that they think that that's going to happen. I don't know what's going on right now. Honestly, like maybe.
I can
I feel like
I can explain the logic.
I mean the logic is there.
So
That still seems fairly spicy to like predict a bunch of that stuff and need it all to be accurate.
yes, I need it all to be accurate for all 5 points.
I would still say that's spicy.
I
I'm gonna
would have
say spicy.
I would have settled for mild because the rumors of this game coming out this year have started to circulate over the last few weeks. But then I started to think about it. I go, if it's getting announced at Summer Games Fest, I guarantee you it's just going to be and we have one last thing, and it's going to be the trailer teaser drop. And I know Jeff Keighley's history with Valve. The first video documentary that got him on the map as a games journalist was covering Half-Life 1 and the behind the scenes of Half-Life 1. He has a history with Valve. If there was anyone that was going to let him announce that game that wasn't them doing it on their own press tour and their own press junket and letting someone else have that announcement, it would be Jeff Keighley. Which is why I think, if you want me to be more hyper specific, the third part of my prediction does not count for this because the third part of the prediction would be outside of the time parameter we have. That mid-December drop happens the same day as the Game Awards.
Oh.
So if you don't get that part, it also doesn't count, by the way. You said it out loud.
Nope. That last part doesn't count.
You literally make the rules.
Yeah.
I can't just make crap up like I do with my campers.
So fair. But if this was for the rest of the year predictions, I would also count in. I think all three of the biggest marketing pushes for that game. Like, I feel like we get a launch day trailer with the Game Awards. I
Wow.
think it'll come out the same day as the Game Awards, and that they'll do a big launch day push, and or Half-Life 3 will be the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 of this year's Game Awards, where Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the main game that sponsored the Game Awards last year. It'll be Valve and Half-Life 3. The big gameplay reveal will be in Gamescom on stage with Gabe Newell. And the reveal will be the one last thing of Summer Games Fest.
Dude, you're really just making like 10-year-old me like scream right now.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine if Half-Life 3 comes out before GTA 6?
In the
That would
year
be
of our Lord
insane.
2025.
I know there's so much contingent riding on me getting 5 points for this, but I haven't. If it doesn't show up at Summer Games Fest, immediately I'm screwed on that one. But
Yeah.
if it shows up, it's the one last thing at Summer's Games Fest. I guarantee you the gameplay reveal or one of the gameplay reveals will happen at opening night live.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I'm going spicy with that one.
Yeah, that's definitely spicy. It's like a plausible spicy, but like it's still spicy.
I think it would have been mild if I just said, based on the rumors, Half-Life's getting shown at Summer Games Fest. No,
Yeah,
if
but
I'm
you
doing
wanted
if
to make it interesting.
I want to make it interesting, I want it to be something that we don't know the results for it until either the end of Summer Games Fest, or if it does get shown off as the one last thing, we won't know what the answer for that point is until the very last day of possible point calculations.
Fair.
Elijah, your second prediction.
Yep. My second prediction. Um, insert continuation of the bit that I started the first time about me writing my things but not actually writing them. New 3D Sonic announced at Gamescom opening night live, and Shadow is once again teased as playable. I think new 3D Sonic would make sense. I think the only like interesting thing here is whether or not Shadow will be playable again.
So this is a prediction I came up with that is what is the most Elijah Ash prediction I can have?
And I'm gonna say bland.
No, because think about it. I'd say
It's
mild.
bland because I said it.
It's mild. One, Shadow being playable in a game after a Shadow game that just released only a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Even though that is a smaller game, it was a add-on essentially to a pre-existing Sonic game. We do know that based off of interviews with the Sonic team directors that Shadow is going to be more integral and more likely playable in future games. The question is Sonic Team finally organized enough to be working on 2 games at once?
I could add something to it that makes it spicy, but it also wouldn't apply to the summer. I could say that people will like it.
I
That would
don't
make it
think that's
spicy.
spicy. I think that's just a straight up impossibility.
Dude, Josh, you didn't play Shadow Generations. Shadow Generations was the first Sonic game in a long
People
time
liked that game.
across the gaming spectrum that people actually thought of positively. Outside of Sonic Mania.
I thought what was the open zone one? Sonic
Frontiers is very
It's
mixed.
divisive. It's
It's
divisive.
very divisive. I like
It's-
it. I really
I
like
like that
game.
one.
It's the best original 3D Sonic concept in a long time, but like the critic reviews and the player reviews give it around a 7.5, and I agree with that assessment. There is a
That's
lot
fair.
of there's a lot of things that need to get fixed, and a lot of those
Yeah.
philosophies ended up getting expanded upon in Shadow Generations. It has an open zone that takes you between levels and levels.
Yeah, the differences between the Shadow Generations open zone and the Sonic Frontiers open zones is that Sonic Frontiers kind of just put crap out there, where if of with Shadow Generations, it felt like everything in the open zone had a reason for being where it was. With Sonic Frontiers, they'd be like, "Ah, there's a rail here in the air,
Who knows
just
why
because we felt like it."
the ancients made floating rails for some reason.
Why would they do that?
Also, the
So
Chow were also an ancient civilization of aliens that devolved, not evolved. Uh,
Yeah,
for some reason.
which
I
yeah, that makes sense, right?
I have a question really quick for Sonic and Shadow Generations. On Steam, why is one of the user tags psychological horror?
Probably because of the part where Shadow gets his like Doom powers.
Yeah.
Huh?
Every time. So, okay. Josh, what if I told you Shadow Generations is also Shadow the Hedgehog 2?
I love the first game, so I would be happy.
It's way more closer to Sonic Generations, but narratively it's a sequel to Shadow Generations. Or Shadow the
Okay.
Hedgehog. Black
That
Doom
is
is
my favorite Sonic game besides Sonic Heroes.
Black Doom is the villain of this game.
Oh.
Like straight up. Somehow Black Doom
Okay.
returned.
They pulled a Star Wars somehow back to return. No,
We do learn
there's
lore wise
reasons why
why he
they return.
returns. Why he
There's reasons.
returns. There's reasons. Uh the psychological horror part of it is that every time Shadow in this game, instead of getting weapons, he gets Black Doom abilities that slowly morph him more alien like. And
Is that
every
why he
time,
looks like a symbiote?
yes, he has a
Yeah.
Black Doom symbiote inside of him.
Oh my gosh.
And they
Okay.
specifically referenced in the panels leading up to this game that Shadow often gets compared to Vegeta, but in this game should be more comparable to Venom.
Nice.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Uh One, every time he unlocks a new Doom power, he basically gets a panic attack and winces in pain. And Shadow has to deal with the PTSD of Maria getting shot again and potentially letting Maria die again.
We love it.
Yep.
We love
We
a
love a good
10-year-old
old
girl getting
torture.
killed in our Sonic.
Yeah.
We love
We
a
love it
torture for pets.
when the genetically modified hedgehog slash alien gets to watch his best friend get murdered brutally in front of him over and over again.
Not best friend. This game establishes that Maria and Shadow actually saw each other like siblings. So it's like seeing
Yeah.
your older sister get shot again.
Gosh.
Yeah. This game is for children.
It's
Uh,
overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
Dude, it's one of
It's
the
such a
best
good game. It's
out
so
of
good.
if you're just talking about the shot first, Sonic Generations is the best boost formula Sonic game, period.
Yeah.
Out of all the boost formula games. And then somehow Shadow Generations is on par, if not sometimes better than Sonic Generations.
Sick.
It's so good. I think it's a mild.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of this was just basis off of piecing together interviews and knowing that even though Jeff Keighley hates Sonic the Hedgehog, somehow Sega keeps giving him announcements.
Why does Jeff Keighley hate Sonic?
He thinks Sonic and the culture around Sonic is so cringy. Every time he announces a Sonic game on one of his events, he goes, "Well, that was a Sonic game again." It's the vibe every single time.
That was definitely Sonic. Anyway,
that was
back
how
to
he
video game.
That's how he announced Frontiers. That's how he announced Superstars, and that's how he announced the new Sonic racing game, Crossworld. It was
Bro,
with that vibe.
Crossworlds. I don't know how to feel about Crossworlds. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the more I see it, the more I'm like, I don't know how to feel about you, but that's not what this podcast is about.
Yeah, we're not talking about Sonic right now.
So
You kind of are.
is that too is that too mild for Elijah?
Yeah, I'm going mild as well.
I'm going mild.
That's fair.
Joshy Poo.
Okay, so before you jump on this, I heard that you were gonna say something about Naughty Dog. I have a second Naughty Dog prediction.
All right, I think it might be the same one.
New Cassie Drake Uncharted, directed by Sean S. Craig, at Summer Games Fest. They're going to double dip.
I'm going to counterpick you because I don't think it's I don't think it's a Cassie Drake game.
Really?
One of the rumors is Jack and Daxter, and I want it to be real.
Oh, fair enough.
I want it. I'm only counterpicking,
Fair.
and I will allow it to be a mild because we know that they're working on 2 games officially as of this week.
Yep.
Officially as of this
One of
week.
them is directed by Sean S. Craig.
One of them is directed by Sean S. Craig, and my heart of hearts wants it to be a Jack and Daxter because Sean S. Craig has been on the company long enough to have worked on Jack and Daxter.
Okay. I was just about to ask if he had experience with Jack and Daxter.
He
Is that what you were going to say? Is that he was going to be directing
doing a Jack and Daxter? A Jack and Daxter.
Revealed at Summer Games Fest?
Whether it's a reboot or they're finally finishing the story.
Mm-hmm. If it is Jack, I'm thinking it's going to be a Jack 4.
I think it's Jack 4. I agree.
Man. Dude, by the way, for those of you who haven't played Jack and Daxter, great games. You can also play them for free on PC through incredible fan remasters.
And recompilations. Oh yeah.
3 of the greatest platformers for the PlayStation.
So good. And
incredible.
I think it would be such a good.
I've never, so I will probably be playing those at some point.
They're action platformers. You would love them.
Exactly.
With really good, surprising deep lore stories.
Jack 3 is one of the best. Think like Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, like third-person shooter with even better platforming.
Well, hold on. Elijah, have you even played Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
So using an example of a PlayStation property that I haven't played, to explain a different PlayStation property that I haven't played doesn't really work.
It's like South of Midnight, but better.
Gosh, I don't think you understand how much of a tunnel vision Nintendo only kid I was.
So part of the Preston versus Elijah stream is for me to break that tunnel vision, and I have Ratchet and Clank and I have Jack and Daxter on that list.
The crazy thing is that Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter are both double character games, like flagship mascot games that started off very much as like platformer first, action game second, and then by the third game became just a straight up third person shooter.
Yeah, third person shooter with platforming.
Yeah. And surprisingly enough, Jack 3 and Up Your Arsenal are probably
the best games
both the best games in the series, yeah.
I would Ratchet and Clank I would argue
Precursor's Legacy.
Yeah.
No, Precursor's Legacy for Jack and Daxter is up there. I love the original. Up Your Arsenal is absolutely the best Ratchet and Clank.
I would argue the newest Ratchet and Clank, if you haven't beat it yet, is so close to hitting the quality of Up Your Arsenal. It doesn't quite
the Rift Apart.
It is so close, but it doesn't quite make it. It's like if you're doing like a 100-point scale, it's 1 point off.
Fair.
Dang.
The Insomniac and the team at Insomniac that made that game recaptured that magic so well.
I forget that Insomniac is that developer.
Yeah. And they still, and unlike other games, like they did not hand off that game series to someone else. Ratchet and Clank's now their tech demo game. Whenever they want to try out new technologies for a new console, they make a Ratchet and Clank game now.
Which is why Rift Apart was the tech demo for PS5 because it has the seamless swapping with no loading screen between 2 levels.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they used that in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, which they tested specifically so that they could use that for that sequence in Spider-Man 2.
Wait a minute, what?
They have a sequence in which they go through Doctor Strange portals in Spider-Man 2 for a side quest.
Yeah,
That's so sick.
And they
it
use
is
the
so
technologies.
cool.
You can tell they use the technology they learned from Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for that sequence.
Okay.
That sequence was definitely catered to me specifically.
And
They
it's one of
came
the
into my house and they were like, what are Elijah's 2 favorite Spider-Man characters? Let's make them go through a bunch of portals.
and reference a bunch of different things in their Insomniac first that we won't probably see for 10 years.
Exactly.
Uh,
I
my
love
next
Spider-Man 2.
my next prediction, now that I'm not going with my Naughty Dog one because I counterpicked Josh's.
Is it? Did I get? Well, I got counterpick, but is it a
So
mild and a counterpick?
it's a mild and a counterpick. So if you're right, you get 3 points. If my counterpick with the stipulation that it has to be Jack and Daxter instead.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for my next prediction?
Judging from your tone, probably not.
We are gonna have 4 Nintendo Directs this summer.
Spicy, not happening.
We are
counterpicking
Absolutely
that.
not.
I'm counterpicking that.
we are getting we are getting a post-launch Switch near the start or mid part of June Direct. Announced at that Direct, we will get a Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct that will be in the following weeks. We are then going to get a Direct announced specifically to give us updates on Pokemon Legends ZA and or Metroid Prime 4. I'm not picky on which one it is. And we will not get a regular Nintendo Direct at the end of the summer, but the same Direct Elijah is alluding to that goes into Gamescom is going to be Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase for the Switch 2.
Absolutely spicy. And yeah, Elijah, go ahead and counter that. Yeah. That's not happening. That's all your one prediction. You're psychotic.
Yep.
Thanks for the free point.
Historically,
thanks for every point I gain.
Historically, this is also not the first time Nintendo has done this in one summer. The only reason why I'm predicting this is that Nintendo has done 4 Directs in a summer in this very same format at the very beginning of the Switch's life cycle.
Yeah, that's what I was looking up.
I think it was 3, but they have so many games coming out that we need more information for. I'm gonna predict 4. It's not 2 regular Nintendo, or not 4 regular Switch Directs. It's 1 regular Switch Direct and 3 specific Directs that follow it.
Right, because like they did like the regular Direct for E3.
Yep.
They did the Smash Bros. Direct.
Yep.
They did the end of August Direct, and then
Yep.
there was one more in there that
They did an ARMS Direct.
Oh yeah, it was the Indie Showcase.
They did
right?
the Indie Showcase, but that was after that. They did an ARMS Direct.
Oh, the ARMS Direct. Yeah, that's why I forgot about that, because I forgot about that game.
Yep.
Just like everybody else.
I've never forgot ARMS. Positively, no, but I never forgot. But at the beginning of the Switch cycle, they had a very similar release schedule for Directs to push the first year of launch titles.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll do that again though.
If we're looking at outside of what marketing or what the CEOs are doing with pricing, their marketing playbook is slight tweaks of what didn't work for the Switch 1 playbook. What did we get for the reveal of the Switch? We got a deep dive into the hardware and the launch software and the third-party partners that are releasing games at and or around launch. The difference is that this time, it was not a live event, it was a Nintendo Direct, and They didn't promise any games this time that weren't gonna take 5 billion years to release, like Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and, Shin Megami Tensei 5, uh, and a bunch of other games that didn't end up becoming launch titles. No More Heroes 3.
What?
They didn't
What? Announcing a game that's going to be a title around the launch of your next console is a bad idea for the beginning
Correct.
of a console?
Correct. And
What?
what did they follow that direct up with that announcement with? They ended it with a killer app that everyone is very excited for that is going to be at or around the launch for the Switch. It was Breath of the Wild, and they announced that that was the launch title. They reversed it. They announced the launch title details first with Mario Kart, but then also around the same time, they announced that their next big franchise hit is going to follow right after that one. For the Switch 1 reveal event, it was Breath of the Wild with a 1-2 punch of a 3D Mario. This time around, we're getting a Mario Kart, and then following that is going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Which is Odyssey 2, but Donkey Kong instead.
It's Odyssey 2 in spirit.
Yep.
Uh, it's the same team. It's basically
Yes.
confirmed at this point, with some
Yeah.
input from old Rare staff, is what the rumor
Which
is.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Who else would know how to make a Donkey Kong game but the people who made the good Donkey Kong games?
Retro.
That's true. Well, Retro also made the good Donkey Kong games.
Yeah, Retro
so
also made the good Donkey
They're
Kong.
looped into those.
Yeah. Some might say Retro is the modern Rare, but we don't talk about them too much.
No. If you start calling them the modern Rare, then Microsoft's gonna buy them, and then they're not gonna make anything again.
No, it's okay. Nintendo already fixed that by buying them outright. They didn't make the same
Nintendo's
mistake
You're
twice.
not taking them from us again.
Following that first Switch presentation, that year, for E3, we got announcements of other directs that were coming out that year, and then we got I think we got a partner showcase or an indie showcase at the end of that first just summer cycle. But that was
Yeah, I remember there being an indie showcase.
yeah, that was the year in which we ended up having like 6 directs. By the end of the
Best
year.
year of my life.
Uh,
Nintendo talked to me 6 times.
these are not exact numbers because I'm not actually looking at it right now, but I can see a world in which we get the post E3 slash Summer Games Fest slash early summer post Switch 2 launch direct, in which they only talk about upcoming titles that are going to appear on both the Switch family of systems, focusing on Switch 2, is what the phrasing is going to be because Nintendo likes using a lot of garbage in their marketing.
Nintendo likes to have a backup plan just in case their console fails.
This is so in depth.
I'm telling
Why
you.
did you think? Why did you think that we would not counterpick this?
I think he said it knowing we would counterpick it and hoping
fair.
he's right.
This is content farming. I'm farming for content.
You're psychotic.
Hey! You just said the quiet part out loud.
Guess
I gotta
what?
think of a stupid, outrageous prediction so that I can say it and then not reveal it's content farming.
I'm
never
content
know.
farming. This game, what? You think I'm gonna come in here with a game called Bland, Mild, and Spicy and not come in with 3 spicy takes?
I have a take, or I have a prediction in here that's fairly spicy.
You don't think I'm gonna come here with only spicy takes?
Here.
So yeah, I think there's gonna be at least 4, if not more.
You're insane, but okay.
Elijah, I think we only have time for one more each.
Okay.
Out of the ones I have left for you, pick your favorite one of the 2.
Okay. So, Preston, I think you know which of the 2 is my favorite one.
Yep.
Already.
Yep.
Mario will get a new platformer announced at a Nintendo Direct this summer, but it is a 2026 game.
Mild.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Mild.
If it was 3D platformer, that'd be spicy. Because that team just put out a Donkey Kong game. That's just not happening.
Um,
Yeah.
I would like to remind you all that this is actually a spicy take.
Nah.
Right? We didn't. Wonder was not that long ago.
Wonder was only 1 year ago.
Hmm.
Wonder was only 1 year ago.
It is getting a patch done by that same development team for Switch 2. They already
Oh, it
have a
is?
project.
Hmm.
They have a project.
Are
The
are
only
they
other
adding levels?
we don't know.
I hope they do because I have 100% of that game and I want more.
It sounds like it's just going to be an expansion patch because it's not on the free updates list. Like
Oh,
New
if
Super
it's
Mario,
not free, then they're definitely adding content.
they're probably adding content to it, like the other games. The only other Nintendo devs that make Mario platformers, one is currently knee deep in polishing Donkey Kong Bonanza, and the other one just spent their entire time since 2017 developing a Mario Kart,
Hmm.
which was
They've
just
been developing that Mario Kart since 2017?
since the launch of the Switch. We found this out today that the Mario Kart team one never considered Mario Kart World to be Mario Kart 9 and fully from the start wanted the open world concept. And that it
Okay.
never released on Switch because they did not like the hardware capabilities of the Switch and would rather build the game how they like it and hope the Switch 2 could run it.
So they've been sitting on it.
They have been sitting on it and polishing it since 2017. The reason
Hmm.
why they released the DLC is the theoretical the when I talk about the DLC, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, uh the what they call it, Elijah? What pass?
Oh, the Booster Course Pass.
Booster Course Pass is Mario Kart 9
Yeah,
in their eyes.
because it is like it adds a whole game's worth of tracks plus DLC.
Yeah.
Um, it is a shit post of a game, but you know,
It is a half-assed Mario Kart game because it's just stapling
But,
Mario
you
Kart
know,
onto another
it's
game.
just like, hey, you already got this Mario Kart. What if we just like gave you some shitty tour tracks that we made look a little better, allegedly?
They said in their interview today, quote, uh, we wouldn't we only would have been called Mario Kart 9 if we planned on just doing the same thing we did with Mario Kart 8 and just make a new set of courses.
So yeah, so the Booster Course Pass was Mario Kart 9,
Mario Kart 9.
100%.
So
I want to play World so bad.
there's no development team worth their salt that has an open development slot to develop a Mario game. I do not think it's possible unless somehow there's a different studio working on new levels for Mario Wonder.
I mean, if you're saying they were sitting on Mario Kart World for since 2017 and only like polishing it since then, they could have been working on something else.
Uh,
Hmm.
True, except that's not how Nintendo usually does its division in teams historically.
So you're
That is
saying
also
I'm
true.
going to counterpick this?
You
I would.
you
I
can
would agree that
counterpick this.
would be a
You
counterpick.
can
I'm gonna
counterpick this.
counterpick it.
I think this is a safe pick. I do not think I think it's possible, and I think the reason why I picked this one is something for Elijah to pick is because it is, in my opinion, a spicy pick.
It is a
I
spicy pick. It is also something that I would have probably predicted.
I
it honestly sounds like, until you explain it, it doesn't sound too far-fetched,
Yeah,
but
like predicting more like Nintendo's gonna announce a new Mario platformer for its new console. Like sounds like a completely bland take because you know
Mhm.
that was their whole shtick for a long time.
Yep.
But like actually thinking into it, nah, it's like there is a high likelihood that it does not happen.
There is a
Mhm.
high likelihood that it doesn't happen within this summer period.
Yeah.
They are working on it and they announce it a year and a half in advance, it's going to happen in the winter direct. I don't think it's going to happen in the summer when they already have ZA on the horizon, Metroid Prime 4 on the horizon. The first summer direct, if I'm correct, with Donkey Kong Bonanza, another 3D platformer within arm's reach,
Yeah.
done by the Mario Odyssey team.
Yeah, at that point, like releasing a 3D Mario that close to releasing a 3D Donkey Kong you're competing against yourself, and Donkey Kong's going to lose every time because
This is
Mario.
this isn't one of my predictions, and someone for their last prediction, feel free to steal this. I think we're more likely to see Pikmin 5.
No, I would counterpick that.
We are more likely to see Pikmin 5 come out before a new Mario game, because at least Miyamoto's like, we must put in more Pikmin everywhere. Miyamoto just confirmed this week that Pikmin are the only Nintendo franchise that is allowed to canonically cross over into other franchises.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So Smash Bros is officially not canon then.
Except for Pikmin.
Except for the Pikmin being there is canon.
Yeah.
So it's Super Pikmin Brothers plus Ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Pikmin are not on the battlefield, then that battle did not happen. is what you're
Olimar
telling
versus
me.
Alf versus Olimar versus Alf versus Olimar versus Alf versus Olimar versus Alf versus Olimar versus Alf is canon.
No. So as long as Olimar or Alf is on the battle, the crossover is fine because the Pikmin are like
so
what
true.
brings them together. Except for the other people shouldn't be able to hit each other because they can't cross over.
What's the
And
MCU term?
Hitting other people.
What's the MCU term that Deadpool and Wolverine introduced?
Which one?
The one about there's one person per universe that's the most important person in that universe.
Yeah. What is it?
I forget what
Anchor
it's
Being.
called. But...
Anchor Being.
Olimar is Nintendo's Anchor Being.
Yeah, Olimar.
Oh, yeah.
Kirby might be able to kill everyone and survive violent enemies at the speed of light, but he's not the Anchor Being. It's Olimar and the Pikmin.
Also,
Okay.
unrelated, but related to feats video games characters have done. Sonic just used Chaos Control to defeat Reverse Flash in one panel.
In one panel, yes. In the Sonic X DC crossovers.
With ease. I just wanted to bring that up.
I was gonna make another off topic but kind of on topic point about Anchor Beings.
Which is
I've been going down the Mort from DreamWorks rabbit hole.
God!
You do.
And holy freaking crap. Talk about Anchor Being.
Yeah, that's fair. Josh.
It is literally the eldritch deity of DreamWorks.
Joshy Poo.
Mm-hmm.
What is your final prediction?
Okay, do I do the most spicy thing that I have, or do I do a safe pick
Do
to
it, coward.
guarantee that I get points?
End it with a
Do
bang.
Do it, coward.
We're gonna get a Sony showcase around
Okay.
the time of Gamescom, and we're
Okay.
gonna get footage of Marvel's Wolverine, including a release date.
Oh, that's getting. I might get only 1 point, but that's getting countered. There's no way in hell that's happening.
Yeah, that's a spicy pick. That game is not coming out this year.
That's like that game is not historic. It is barely in an alpha playable state.
Yeah, there are very few things I feel good about in my fantasy critic. That is one of them. Counterpick is one of them.
There is no shot. That game was fully playable, and then we haven't heard from leaks. And then Insomniac basically said, "We'll show you it when we're ready." Grumble on Twitter.
They aren't ready.
They
keeps getting stuff keeps getting leaked from it too, and that's just gonna make Insomniac more mad.
And everything they leak is not finished stuff. And we've already lost one director from that project. I think 2. I think for sure 1.
Yeah, this game is as close to a development hell as you can be.
Without being Judas.
What is with me and really wanting games and picking games that end up just being in the most horrific state that a game could possibly be in?
I desperately want Marvel's Wolverine to release. But I really don't think it's gonna for a while.
No, I think it'll release next year. Based on what the delay post was saying, it sounds like it just needs another year to bake. I fully believe that game is not development hell. I think it's truly the team wants to make the best game they possibly can.
And I appreciate that.
Something something Miyamoto delayed game quote.
Something something Pikmin 4 something something.
Pikmin 4 coming to a stream this Sunday.
I don't know,
Uh,
man.
Oh, I might be able to
I
be on
think
that
there's a chance.
Josh, unrelated to
Mhm.
anything going on with this game. If that
Mhm.
happens, I'm buying you a pizza because I will be so happy to be wrong.
Mhm.
I will personally order you a pizza and get it sent to your house.
Josh,
Beautiful.
in honor of you, if that game gets released, just when that game gets released, I will finish it in one sitting, just for you. Just gonna
I
do
really
that
want this game
anyway.
to come out. Yeah. Yeah, fair.
The only reason I didn't finish Spider-Man 2 in one sitting is because I had to work to like do my job so I could actually, pay for it.
Are you
Of
ready?
course, Sweet Baby Inc. is working on the game as a consultant.
They
Anyway,
do on everyone at this point.
gross.
It's just a thing. People blow
Yep.
it out of proportion. If consultants people can take or leave consultants' work, or how they implement it is how they choose how to do it. That's a thing. Anywho, at Gamescom opening night live, Jordan Peele will return on stage and finally show us a new trailer for the game he and Hideo Kojima will be working on together.
Yeah.
We got that announced 2 years ago. It is time we see it.
I literally forgot that was a thing.
I don't think that game is actually real.
I
don't
think it
think
is
it's
real.
in production right now.
I
I
think-
think it's real. I don't think that they've even started it.
Oh,
with
I think
how
the
I am-
close we
funniest
are to Death
thing
Let me-
Stranding.
that
let me
could
make it clear.
possibly happen.
Let me make it clear. I am not explicitly saying gameplay. I'm saying we see something.
I think the funniest thing that could possibly happen is that Jordan Peele comes up on stage
And we
to
don't see
tell
shit.
everybody that the original announcement was intended to be a joke, and he never intended to make a game in the first place.
I think we're gonna get something in the similar vein of Kojima comes out on the Game Awards stage right after he leaves Konami and has a visual render for Death Stranding. We learn about Death Stranding for the first time. I think it's that level of announcement where it's literally just a render in engine footage based off of Kojima's engine, and that's all we get. We just get a cinematic that we are like, what does this even mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going spicy.
I think this is my most mild prediction.
Nah,
That's
I'm
your
going
most
spicy.
mild? Your most mild is he's going to bring out Jordan Peele?
He did it
You're
at the Game
legitimately-
Awards! He did it
I
at the
know.
Game Awards
You
and
want
another Jeff
him to
Keighley
do it
event!
again?
Yes, I
They
think he'll
brought
do
out
it again!
They brought out Timothy Chalamet one time. They're not doing that again, so they're not going to bring out Jordan Peele again.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Timothy
you're
Chalamet went.
actually psychotic.
No, they brought out Timothy Chalamet because one, he's actually a fan of video games. He actually had an
That's
Xbox
true.
game.
I think
And two, the Dune 2 or the Dune Part 2 hype cycle was going around. So of course Jeff Keighley's going to get a big Hollywood name. He's sucking Hollywood's dick back and forth 24/7
Well,
at the Game Awards.
And you also have the Dune
MMO.
Open World Survival
Yeah,
Craft
the
coming out.
survival craft game. Yeah, whatever it is, the one that has awesome sand rendering. That one.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Peele, if he's gonna do a video game, he himself is also a lover of video games, wants to go to freaking Germany to talk about his game. I think that guy will do it in a heartbeat, especially because he's such a big fan of Kojima, especially because of Metal Gear Solid. He would do it for Kojima. And you can call me a psychopath all day, but I think it's gonna happen.
Here's the thing. I think that, like, yes, you are right with all of that. I don't think that this game exists yet in any state. Like, not even like anything to show or talk about. Death Stranding 2 is so close to launch, and they've been working on it nonstop. There is
Yeah.
zero way that this game even exists.
Now, you
Yeah.
silly, silly boy, we had talked right before live streaming this podcast that there was a
Mhm.
group of people that went up to Kojima Studios
Mhm.
and previewed Death Stranding 2 for 30 hours. One of the questions
Yes.
asked in one of the Q&A was that was Kojima
Mhm.
Studios working on any other games? And he confirmed that they were already in production on the next basically spiritual successor to Metal Gear Solid at that studio at that moment, and they had multiple teams working on things in pipelines. It's
Okay.
gonna
So,
happen.
so
Oh,
Preston,
no, man.
Preston, one thing you forget to take into account is that Jordan Peele has a movie coming out in 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 3 months from then.
Yes,
He's going
correct.
to be busy with finishing his movie.
And you know what other movie he was busy with when he did his Game Awards announcement? Nope.
Where was the Game Awards?
That was in LA. Guess what? Jordan Peele?
That's
No,
yeah, that is why.
no. Jordan Peele, where is his production studio located? Not in LA, baby.
It's not?
It
Where is it?
it's in his brain. It's a multi outsourced studio. It has multiple locations.
Is one of them
Hmm.
in LA?
I mean, he lives in LA. You have a point, but
He lives in LA. He doesn't
I'm a
live in
psycho,
Germany, and he's not going to go to Germany like on the heels of his movie releasing.
and no one said he would show up and work with Kojima at the Game Awards except for one Greg Miller, and people hate that man, and he was right.
Yeah, but you gotta admit there is a difference between it being in LA and
Oh,
being in Germany.
yes, but you forget, Elijah, that my belief that this is so true is so big that I believe that Jordan Peele, for promotion of this game and for promotion of his upcoming movie, because
So
again,
press
it is a Jeff Keighley event. Jeff Keighley does movie reveals of video adjacent things and has the creators come out for those things, even historically at Gamescom in Germany.
so Preston, is your prediction specifically that he will come out on
On
stage and be
stage.
physically there?
That's what I said. Jordan Peele will come
I'm
out.
counterpicking this.
I think that's a great counterpick. I think the most likely thing to happen is for him to have a video shown of him instead. I do not think it's likely that he will be there in person.
My prediction is, because again, I'm only coming in with the spicy. I'm only coming in with the spices. I'm the only non-white man here. Okay, I can handle the spices.
Damn.
3 spicy picks. Listen. If I'm correct, Half-Life 3 is getting announced at Summer Games Fest. Is gonna get a trailer and showing up gameplay at Gamescom, and then is also gonna get revealed with a trailer launch date at the Game Awards. We're getting 4 Nintendo Directs, and Jordan Peele at Gamescom opening night live is going to come out on stage at Germany and show off whatever the hell conceptual thing he wants about his horror game with Hideo Kojima.
Bro, I don't know what universe you think we're living in, but none of that crap is happening.
You are literally going to get 0 points.
And if I get 5, which means one of them is correct, that's the moral victory I get.
Your moral victory is getting one prediction correct.
One spicy prediction correct.
I
We call this the Mario Party method. We've seen how I play Mario Party.
Bro, he's doing the gambit right now. He's doing the
is
piranha plant gambit again.
psychotic.
I'm gonna get 15 points. Mark my
No
word.
way. You're not getting 15 points.
Imagine if
Even
I
with
do.
all 5 of your predictions, you are not getting 15 points.
No, because here's the thing. I think we cut it off here. I think we do 3 predictions each, and then we can do a future episode to talk about what we could have predict, but we lock in these 3.
Okay, I'm down. That
Are
sounds
we
good.
down? Are we down?
Preston, have fun with your 0 points and picking last.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
I
you're
might
right.
not win Fantasy Critic, but I'm gonna win this. Thanks, Preston. By the way, thank you for all the picks that you let me steal.
I give you my sane picks. If I come out of this with 15 points, this is a simulation.
Oh yeah, this is
We
100% a simulation.
We are living in a simulation, and I somehow got the GTA Infinite money code.
I am so upset right now.
And with that, this has been the Preston versus Elijah podcast, where Elijah, myself, and sometimes a friend or two come together and talk about whatever the hell we want. Mostly gaming, sometimes D&D, eventually comic books. Who's to say?
And definitely football at some point.
Okay,
Oh.
so you know the end of Sam Says 3 with Vic, Lou, and Jacob, that iconic image.
Yep.
That's basically the pose that I'm having right now after your predictions tonight, Preston.
Because here's the thing. My predictions have some form of logic behind them. It's not like I'm predicting Mega Man Legends 3 or even more crazy, Mega Man Star Force 3.
Bro. Predicting
I-
Mega
I'm-
Man to release a game is crazy.
Right?
I'm actually literally face palming right now.
Like, I have some logic behind it based off of things that have happened historically at these events.
Yeah.
But you think I'm gonna go for a mild? No, I'm swinging for the fences, baby.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be wrong, I'm gonna be categorically wrong. But if I'm right, you all can suck my dick. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye. Guys, it's not playing the credits based on my button press. Ah!